Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at what you're up to. We take a look at what I'm up to. We take a look at what the city, the state, and the country are up to. We pick the nicest stuff we can, and we try to make our life connected, our life involved, and happy, or at least entertaining. Where am I going with this introduction? I have no idea, but it is Saturday, March 19. It is a pleasure to get together with you, and it is a pleasure to bring you a light and fluffy broadcast. No major things are boiling. No major things are burning. There's no shade unless we make some right now on the spot. We can do whatever we want, but I have mostly good news and a few pointers on things to do locally and things to do not so locally. As always, it is a pleasure to get together with you. And if you are new, please let us know by writing the word, oh yes, a colored shirt on a Saturday. Absolutely, Javier. And I'm so glad you noticed. I am having a very important get together right after the broadcast. My beloved, yes, beloved, I love the man, my former boss and mentor at Vallarta Lifestyles, John Uden, who founded the magazine decades ago, is in town. And I'm getting together with him just to catch up. And I'm really excited. I'm always happy to see John because a lot of the editorial principles that guide Coffee and Headlines are things that I learned from him, from the pleasure of working at Vallarta Lifestyles as managing editor for almost 14 years, I think. It was definitely more than a decade. So yes, a colored shirt on a Saturday, and I'm psyched about that. We're going to meet in Marina Vallarta, and hopefully I'll be able to do some walk-arounds and some things along the way this afternoon, so I'm excited. Where was I? If you're new, please add the word new to your comments. If you are if you have something important that you want to say, please add the letter Q, like Jonathan has done here. I have an issue with venues like the Palm in Act 2 requiring a 2-drink minimum. I am not a big drinker, so just have water. Well, Jonathan, if I was the Palm or Act 2, I would address your concerns. Unfortunately, there's very little we can do from our end. But I would suggest that you talk to the venue owners and say, well, this is not working for me. Can we do something about it? And hopefully they will understand. We'll get to the rest of your comments. Today, we're going to look at good news. We're going to report, speaking of music venues, we went to listen to Eyes on Earth last night in a very local venue. And I say local with comillas because, I don't think there's still so much of the English-speaking locals in Emiliano Zapata and then the rest of the city. I think that's going to change moving forward. And I think this will make a little sense once we talk about it. So let us get started with the news, and then we'll get to the fluffy stuff, because it's going to be a fluffy day. Well, for the first time since the beginning of the pandemic, or at least since the national COVID stoplight indicator map was introduced, Mexico is completely in the green zone. This does not mean that COVID has left the building. It means that we are in the lowest level of danger right now. At this stage of the game, there are 16,566 people that still tested positive throughout the country within the past 14 days, but that number is very low. As we know, the only mandate that is still in place in our state is the use of face masks in public places and indoors. And here is the official map. It looks pretty and green. You'd think that it was coordinated with St. Patrick's Day. Let us hope that we can keep it shiny and green for a while. Gilberto Lorenzo Rodriguez, the leader of the City Workers Union, is no longer. The union had a special meeting yesterday, but he did not show up and face the employees as he is embroiled with legal and financial problems. As we know, he owes the city over 5 million pesos. We don't really wish any harm on anyone, but it's nice to see that people that blatantly attempt to pursue a comfortable but corrupt position in the local government are no longer getting away with it as easily as before. Let us hope that this trend continues. Here's another trend, though, that I don't like, and hopefully this trend will stop. Here's another one of those articles that reports and doesn't follow up, this time pointing out on the disrepair at Los Muertos Pier. I don't recognize this particular spot. This must be at the very end where one is able to embark on the boats that dock there. All I can say is, if you hop on a boat these days, do so carefully. Those look like sharp points on the photograph. And hopefully, given how much the local and state administration like to boast our tourism destination status, the iconic pier will be given some TLC in the near future, because it sure looks like it could use some love from the authorities. Let us take a quick look at our weather forecast, and we'll take it from there. Is that a jet contrail, or is the sky just happy to see you? I don't know that I have ever seen the word contrail before. I suppose it refers to that trail of white fog that jet planes leave behind. But I'm going to look for the word contrail right after the broadcast. New word for me. Anyhow, it is 26 degrees right now. Humidity is low again, 20%. So it'll be a great day to be out and about walking. Our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 78 degrees. And our forecast for today, a clear day with a high temperature of 31, low temperature of 17. Tomorrow, Sunday, will be a partly cloudy day. We had already forecasted that, with a high temperature of 31 and a low temperature of 17. And we begin our week with a partly cloudy day and a high temperature of 31 and a low temperature of 16. Not bad. And then we have more fluff. We have fluffy headlines. Well, I have one fluffy headline, and I have a little adventure to share with you. First of all, I should tell you that I laugh. Not in a mean way, but I always am amused by people that ask me, so when are you going back to the United States? Or when was the last time that you were there? Or why haven't you gone back to the United States? Well, I haven't gone back to the States since I left 20 years ago. And it's low on my bucket list, particularly when you think about all the wonderful places that are within our reach here in Puerto Vallarta. And today I was reminded of another place that I would love to see, and I am adding it to my bucket list. And this has to do with this beautiful post that came from the Jalisco's Culture Department, and it has to do with Guachimontones. Have you heard of this place? It's a pyramid. It's a circular pyramid. In fact, it's a bunch of formations. It is, in fact, the largest pre-Columbian archaeological site in our state, in the state of Jalisco. Los Guachimontones is a part of the agave landscape in ancient, ancient industrial facilities of Tequila, UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's a major tourism attraction within the Tequila Valleys. And it is not that difficult to get to. It is actually, let me show you on the map. Let's see, here's Puerto Vallarta, obviously. Here's Guadalajara. And if you take the mountain road through San Sebastián and Mascota, you pass Ameca, and there it is. It is anchored by a little town called Teuchitlan. So it is quite close to Guadalajara. I suppose one could actually also take a bus from Guadalajara there. And again, this is a beautiful looking place that I've never been to. It's right next to a lake, as you can see, and that lake would be this lake over here. So if anybody has been to Guachimontones, I would love to know more about this place. Hear your comments about it. I am so very curious about this place. So in Jalisco, we're curious about that crochet canopy in that little town, which is not far from this place. And then we're curious about this archaeological zone. And then we're curious about so many things in Guadalajara that we're just itching to go. So before we begin with our comments section, I want to report on our outing last night. As you know, some friends of mine and I went to hear a live band. We went to hear Eyes on Earth. Eyes on Earth was one of the finalists in the recent So You Think You Can Rise competition. They were one of the 3 top finalists. I heard them on the semifinals at the Palm then, and I was really amazed at how well they played. And then we heard them on the finals, and I've been in touch with the band just to connect and hopefully empower with some promotional skills. They may take me up on the offer or they may not, but they had told us they were playing last night, and we decided to go check them out at a venue that I am not familiar with. It is called El Rey de Oros, or Rey de Oros. The name has to do with the old Spanish type of cards, like poker cards. In the old type of cards from Spain, you don't have aces and diamonds and so forth and so on. You have other things. And one of the things that you have is oros, or golds. So that's the name of the venue. Anyhow, the venue, let me show you. Where's the button? Here it is. The venue is located right next or very close to this Bancomer, which is on the main road here, Soriana, in the hotel zone. It is located in this quiet little street. And as we were heading there, it was getting a little darker, and it felt like one of so many streets in downtown Guadalajara where you're walking and there are absolutely no facades that you think are going to have something interesting inside. And then all of a sudden you go in and there's stuff going on. So the gig was advertised from 7 to 9, like a good former Bostonian. We showed up there right at 7, and sound check had not even begun, but we figured we're not going to fret it. We're just here to take in the atmosphere. And the place was very basic, but it was nice. It was a small cantina, a small bar. They call themselves a tavern. And I had a chance to talk to one of the owners, and he had nice things to say about the fact that they'd like to empower young and upcoming bands. They also have poetry readings, and they show movies, and they have stand-up comedy and so forth and so on. Their kitchen was not open, and I don't know if that was just last night or it's one of those pandemic things, but we were given the choice of ordering pizza from the place next door, so we ordered pizza. It was brought to our table. No big whoop. The place had all kinds of people. We saw people that were older than us, younger than us, Mexican, foreigners, you name it. There was a little bit of everything. There's a pool table right at the entrance, which some people were playing and having a good time. Eventually, the band started. The band started at about 7:45, which again, we were chilling. We were not in a major hurry to get anywhere. And of course, um, the band Eyes on Earth, they played two sets, or they took a little break in between. I was pleasantly surprised that it was not as loud as I thought it would be. I mean, I heard them at the Palm, and when they played at the Palm, the lovely people at the Palm really cranked the shit out of the volume, and that may have discouraged some people. Here, the sound was loud, but not unbearably so. It was quite comfortable to listen to, and the band delivered a great set of standards. Well, when I say standards, I'm not meaning Gershwin or anything, but they played everything from the Beatles and some rock tunes from different bands that we know and love. They played some originals. Um, they did a really nice job. They were very charismatic. And then at the end of the gig, well, we didn't stay till the very, very end. I think they may have had one or two songs to go, but it was getting a little late. I had this broadcast to prepare. And we knew that there was stand-up comedy starting right um, after the band was going to stop playing. And as we were leaving, right outside of the band, there was as much of a festive mood right on the street. People were hanging out, and it was just a really, really fun place. So what do I think this means? This means that the whole notion, well, we've always known that Emiliano Zapata and the big venues that we know and talk about frequently are not the end all be all. There's all kinds of entertainment that has been going on in the city, in other places, and it was nice to discover a new option. I mean, this is a place that would be equally usable for live music or doing a lecture series, and it was fun to see that the owners were pretty excited about trying different kinds of things. So I think that the more the venues in Emiliano Zapata continue to specialize on entertainment that caters to tourism, more and more entertainers that are interested in the local audiences are going to start heading other places. Again, I was very, very pleasantly surprised, and I will be happy to take a look at Rey de Oros' Facebook page and continue to see what they advertise looking into the future. And this was our adventures for yesterday. I came home and I slept in a little bit this morning, but I am always happy to be here and ready to share the goods and clear my throat from time to time. And this is what we have. Let me now turn over to your wonderful comments in this beautiful Saturday, this beautiful Sábado, this Sabadaba, as we say sometimes. Let's see what we see. Christy reports on having fed the babies. If you're wondering what that is about, Christy told me the other day that she received another batch of little baby squirrels. For those of you that don't know this, Christy's very eclectic but wonderful pursuit in life, or one of many, is to nurse little animals, little wild animals, mostly squirrels. And we love to hear from Christy and her reports. It's great to see you. Let's see what else we have. Here's a cue. Hola from rainy Kitchener, Ontario. At least the snow is melting. Happy Saturday, 19 days until we get to Puerto Vallarta. Thank you for your report, Brian. I hope the countdown is exciting. I hope you're looking forward to spending some time here in Puerto Vallarta. Let's see what else. Light and fluffy, he said. I hope it's been fluffy and light. I mean, today we did not have any kind of really deep, serious chingaderas going on. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Patty says, here we go again. Can't like people's comments. Oh, well, listen to our wonderful Paco. Well, thanks for the wonderful remark, Patty. I'm happy to report that yesterday and the day before, I was not in the need to unhide any comments. So whatever woes have been going on with Facebook, they seem to be disappearing. I would like to revisit Jonathan's remark and offer a little bit of empathy, not only to you, Jonathan, but also to the venues. The venues have been hit very hard through the pandemic, and I am sure that they're trying to find the most creative ways to stay afloat and make their business profitable, or at least that's what I'd like to believe. I don't work closely with any of the venues you mentioned, but I would like to think that they have good intentions. On the other hand, I also empathize with you. You know, if you don't want to drink alcohol, what's up with that? And what's up with the prices? But all I'm going to say is, I suppose it all starts again with just talking to the venues and making sure that they understand your point of view, or in many cases, our point of view. Um, and that's what I have to share about that. Um, oh, I read Vallarta Lifestyles magazine and email subscription. I love it. Thank you very much, Charles. I again had the pleasure and the honor and the privilege and the joy of steering the editorial content for the magazine for over a decade. That ended some 4 or 5 years ago when it was sold to new owners, and I chose to retire from the operation as it was time. It was time to move on, and that's how we started freelancing, and eventually that's how we started creating this beautiful community that I'm so excited about. Let's see. Padim, pam, 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 pam. What? You're leaving already, Alan? How can that be? You just got here. You had been counting for months, and you're leaving already? That can't be. That cannot be. Oh my God! And Albert asks the same thing. I love it. Thank you for the clarifying, Pat. I didn't know that word, and now I know that that's what you call the vapor trail that jets leave behind. In fact, I've forgotten the word. I'd have to go look at it in the comments and find a way to use it, because if I don't use words on a daily basis, then I don't remember them. There are those who think the contrails are another conspiracy. You may find this when you research contrails. Oh, contrails! Get out of town. Seriously, people think that the planes farting are a conspiracy? Oh, dear. Oh, it is short for condensation trail. There you go. We learn something new every single day. Let's see what else we have. Da, 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 da. If I have limited Spanish, is it worth attending the event on International Water Day at Los Mangos Library, March 22nd? I am concerned with recent H2O problems. People are talking about PV. Is our presence meaningful? Well, Claire, I have two answers for you. Number one, not knowing anything about what's going to happen at Los Mangos Library, I cannot tell you that your presence will be meaningful or not, regardless of whether you have fluent Spanish or not. The flip side of that is being an English-speaking local, always encouraging people to go out and see places and discover them, regardless of the content, regardless of the ease of language. I can never imagine it being a bad day to go explore our city's local public library. So I would say go. And if you don't like it, or if you don't relate, then leave, happy that you went, and knowing that within walking distance, there's a shitload of amazing restaurants that you can try if you find yourself in this neck of the woods. So I say, Claire, go check it out. And I'm sure you'll have a good time. And please tell us about it. Let us know how it went. Jill comments on Guachimontones. We went to those pyramids and lunched at the lake. Very, very interesting. There is a museum and interpretive center. Thank you very much, Jill. It is so wonderful to hear. Michael says, have a wonderful time with John and the family today. He is such a super nice guy and missed here in Vallarta. Absolutely. John and Florencia are great people, and I will be happy to connect and see how life has been for them living in Portugal. Brian asks, we just bought a new car. Where would you go for a getaway weekend? Oh my God, if you're in Puerto Vallarta, I would go to San Sebastián del Oeste. Easy, easy, easy. Oh, and Dave echoes my first thought. San Sebastián del Oeste, it's an easy drive. It's a safe drive. I mean, it would be easy to recommend places like Maito or Tehuamixle, but the road for a new car may not necessarily be the best. I would definitely think of San Sebastián del Oeste. Let's see what else. Oh, Dennis late because Kathy is making caramel corn. Let me say hint, hint, hint. Yummy. Hint, hint. Um, let's see what else we have. Vapor is a good word for Wordle. Interesting. Kate asks, is Alan Shepard really living? Apparently, yes. Michael comments, a lot of the venues that feature live shows like at the Palm and Act 2 generate their money by the bar sales. A very high percentage of the ticket sales goes directly to the performer, so not much money left to pay operation costs. See, there you have it. I know for a fact that a lot of jazz venues that I used to frequent in the Northeast in the United States, they have a minimum drink or a cover or both. I mean, there's different combinations, and I know that this is not the United States, but again, what we should be mindful of is that bars are trying to make it work for them, and what they should be mindful of is our needs. So it all starts with raising our voices and saying, hey, have you considered this or that? And that brings us to the end of this light and fluffy coffee and headlines for today. I truly, truly hope that you'll have an amazing weekend or rest of the weekend. I am looking forward to my visits this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to a chill day tomorrow. I will be doing some video editing and seeing what's going to happen with some of the walking tours that we did this past week so that we can showcase them this coming week. So have a great time. Have a great Saturday. Thank you so much for joining Luna and I, and thank you so much for supporting Coffee and Headlines. You make it possible, and we are super grateful for that. Have a great day.